A group of friends has been playing the same game of tag for over 20 years. Is it believable? Maybe. Is it funny? Mostly. What about worth seeing? Yeah, definitely. For the movie Tag, we have 5 friends, and they're played by Ed Helms, Jon Hamm, Jake Johnson, Hannibal Buress, and Jeremy Renner. Every May, they've been playing a game of tag that they've been playing since they were kids. Now, Jeremy Renner has never been tagged in all of that time. What I loved about this film is the characters and the way they work together. Ed Helms plays Hogan, and he's basically the instigator of the entire group. He gets all of the guys together so that they can ambush Jeremy Renner during his wedding celebrations. Now, Ed Helms plays Hogan with a lot of heart, and a lot of intensity, and a lot of sincerity. This guy is not just all game, he really cares for his friends. And really that comes through not only in the dialogue, but just in the acting itself, that you can really see that his main motivation for the entire game is always to spend time with his friends. And we see that all of the friends, they've grown up, not necessarily maturity-wise, but they've all gotten older, and they have begun their careers, they've moved away, they live in different towns, different cities, and Ed Helms is the one that really, he's the glue, he's that tying thing that brings them together and keeps the group stuck together. Jon Hamm plays Callahan, a very successful CEO. He's probably the most grounded of the group, but what I really love about him is that he hasn't abandoned his inner child, that little kid inside who still loves to play and loves to hang out with his friends. Jake Johnson is chilly, and he's basically a man-child. He smokes weed all the time and only lives for the moment and in the moment. While he's the fool of the group, he's probably the most wise. He also is very likable and very funny. Hannibal Buress is Sable, and he's the most unique out of the entire group. And Buress brings his unique style of deadpan humor just with perfection in this. He has got a ton of great one-liners that just catch you off guard, and he's so funny because of his delivery. Jeremy Renner is Jerry, and he's the one that's never been tagged. He's smart, strong, and agile, and basically has all of the characteristics learned from Jeremy Renner's action movies. Isla Fisher plays Anna, and she's Hogan's wife. Now, she is wildly competitive and super intense, but she's also crude at times, and that was a downside for me, that I really liked her when she was being intense and funny, but then she would shift and become very crude, and for me it just set me off and it distracted me from it. I didn't think her character needed that part. The comedy in the story is pretty good, and there are some laugh out loud moments. It's just not an all-out laugh fest. Some of the jokes and scenarios weren't very funny to me, and some of them pushed too far into the crude humor for my liking. The action sequences where the characters are trying to tag Jerry are some of my favorite. They really reminded me a lot of Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes. They would slow down super slow-mo with this voiceover narration of what is happening or what is going to happen, and then speed up and just with a higher frame rate. And so it was just really cool to see. It was a lot of fun and definitely a lot of funny moments within those action sequences. I'm really glad too that the trailers didn't give away all of the funny moments of the film, because there are a lot that were saved that we didn't see, and a lot of them that were changed from what we saw in the trailer to what they actually were in the film. So that was a good surprise. Sure, some of the film is a little predictable, but that's okay. It's not, this is not a mystery film that we're going to see. This is something to make us laugh and have a good time, and that definitely is what it did. I really love the soundtrack of the film because it contains a lot of music from the early to mid 90s and even some into the early 2000s. Now, I am basically about the same age as the characters in the film, and so that was the music of their childhood and then them growing up as teenagers just like me. So that was a lot of fun to see. Now, speaking of soundtrack, you must wait through the credit sequence because there is a treat in there that you don't want to miss. Now, for me, I really wish that the crude humor would have been kept at a very minimum or even taken out completely. It didn't add to the story, and personally, it didn't make me laugh. It just kind of made me cringe or roll my eyes a little bit and like, you know what, you're smarter than this. You didn't need to put this in there because I was already having a good time and I was already laughing out loud without this. Now, there were a lot of young kids in the showing that I was at. Let me be clear, this is not a movie for young kids. Even though it centers around a game that kids play, this is R-rated and a lot of language, and so it's definitely not for the younger kids. Don't take them, leave them at home. I love that at the end of the film, they showed footage from the friends that this story is based on. It grounds the film and makes it even more heartwarming. And really, that's what Tag is all about friendship. And I walked out of the theater believing that friendship. All in all, I had a really fun time watching Tag, despite some of the crude humor. I found the story engaging, the characters drew me in, and I laughed out loud. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity and some crude humor, with a little bit of mild violence. I give Tag 4 out of 5 couches. Do you play games with your friends? Let me know which ones below in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this review, give it a like, and share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies.
Accurate.
What? Thanks for couching with me.